It's race day at the German Grand Prix as we reach the halfway point of the MotoGP World Championship in 2025. And of course, we're at the Sachsenring, a circuit steeped in racing history. Famous, of course, for its tight and twisty nature. And all those lefts which have worked for Marc Marquez in the past, they worked for him in the sprint. Can anyone stop the Spaniard here today? These are the scenes overnight at the Sachsenring. Of course, we had a wet sprint, we had wet qualifying yesterday. What would the riders find at the racetrack this morning? Well, still a damp track after some more overnight rain, but it has stopped raining. The threat of more rain today is minimal. You can still see, though, there are a few dark clouds around, a few patches of rain. But as it stands, we've just had a Northern Talent Cup race around here, and they were in wet conditions, and there isn't a dry line. So this warm-up session that we've got 10 minutes, of course, for the MotoGP riders, I wonder how relevant it's going to be. They can see starting to see a dry line. 2 o'clock, there is a chance there may be showers, but that's you're talking 20% chance of rain later on in the day. So it looks like it's going to be dry. Neil Hodgson is alongside me for this 10-minute session today, and yeah, I wonder how much information gathering there can be in these conditions. Yeah,
it's really tricky conditions because it's a drying track, isn't it? They're going to have to go out on wet. You wouldn't risk going out on slick tyres, as you can see. You can see there's a few dry patches in pit lane, but in general the track's wet. So yeah, you're going to go out on wet. What you're going to learn? Well, risk versus reward. Is it going to be dry this afternoon? There's one thing, after the wet race yesterday, the riders will have obviously had a feedback to their team, so there will be some setting changes, some wet setting changes, so everybody will go out, I would assume, and see what the conditions are doing. I'm sure they'll all be practicing their little flag to flag changes as well at some point, either during the session or right at the end. I mean, it's only a 10-minute session anyway, so because that could be part of today's story if it rains.
Marc Marquez will start his 200th MotoGP race later today. He could rack up his 9th Premier Class win here at the Sachsenring. Only Agostini's one circuit over his career. But Marc showed yesterday why he is the king of this place. Showed why he is the one to beat, and unfortunately it's against a depleted field. We'll have a field of 18 out there today. No Enea Bastianini, no Somkiat Chandra, they didn't even make it to Germany. Maverick Vinales out after a fracture in his shoulder from qualifying, and then a big crash for Frankie during the race yesterday, Neil.
Yeah, watch this for a crash then. You'll see him flying to shot. It's so fast, but it's the way he barrel rolls and hits his head and his collarbone on 3 separate occasions. His leather suit even came open, which is so rare, but I mean, such was the impact, that initial impact. Look at that. This is a sorry tale, isn't it, to see both riders not able to compete today. Obviously Maverick Vinales and Enea Bastianini.
Yeah, Maverick, as we say, dislocated his shoulder, his left shoulder. He is out of here. This was the horrible crash he had, having come through Q1, first lap out in Q2, and
exactly, first lap out. It's the right-hand side of the tyre, sorry, the left-hand side of the tyre. Just first time he really sort of turns into the corner, and it was all she wrote. Just literally threw him straight over the handlebars, and a dislocated shoulder is not good.
He's out of Brno as well, so 4 riders out of the field, and that's of course not mentioning Roy Martin, who's not here still. He will be back in the Czech Republic. His teammate Marco Bezzecchi, though, definitely holding up the Aprilia end in recent weeks, Neil. He's now up to 6th in the championship. He's actually only 12 behind Di Gian Antonio in that championship, 9 behind Morbidelli, so it's a very good chance by the end of today he could be up to 5th, top 5 in the championship, which was the magical mark that Jorge Martin had in his contract, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. After a shaky start, really, for Bez, he's found a home now. He feels comfortable on the bike, wet and dry. It was very impressive yesterday. Controlled the race from the front, and it looked like he did almost do enough. He got passed at the start of the last lap by a man who risked everything. He was almost annoyed at himself after the race. He was sort of laughing to the journalists, saying, sort of told myself that second place was enough, but there was a point in the race where the gap came down on two consecutive laps, and it just gave him enough of a, let's say, a sniff of like, do you know what, I might just be able to get this one. Is that a bit of rain in the air?
There's a couple of spots of rain. As we say, there are showers about still. You could see from the wide angles, couldn't you, the few dark clouds, but it'd be very localised. We looked at the long-range forecast for later in the day, and there is a possibility of more rain around 2 p.m. And as you can see,
yep,
this is what we could have throughout the day. This is interesting, not just for now, for this warm-up meal, but we were talking about for Moto3, weren't we? Scott Ogden, of course, starts from pole for Britain in that race, which is coming up in an hour and a half, just less than an hour and a half's time, actually. In just over an hour's time, they'll be on the grid. And who knows what we're going to get. You can still see patches of water out there. This track is slow drying. It's not very breezy. There's not a lot of wind, and it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold, but you can feel the humidity as well, so it's certainly not drying fast. So there's one thing, as you can see, drops of rain on the screen, so like see, there's a bit of drizzle. I want it to rain now, because I'd like a wet Moto3 race. Scott started from pole position, fast in the wet, consistent. He was fast in the dry, actually, as well. There you go, they're practicing the flank to flank.
This is perhaps the most important thing they can do in this session.
Sort of is, yeah. And they might scrub a brand new set of wets just so they've done a lap on them. It's more psychological than anything else if you speak to any tyre expert, but if you just do a lap on a set, you feel like you just take that brand new seal, it's a slight shine to the edge of the tyre off it, and then at least in a flank to flank scenario, if you're jumping on from slicks to wets, you feel like you can genuinely attack from the first corner rather than just waste a couple of corners.
They're all on the medium tyres. Well, actually, I'd say that now. Alex Marquez just got out with a soft rear, as has Alex Rins and Aldeguer. But again, you've got to think that the medium tyre, especially if it's like this kind of rain, yes, there was spray coming off the bikes, not here. And so you're going to need the medium tyre underneath you. But what we also saw from Johan Zarco and from other incidents throughout the weekend on that medium tyre, you've got to, the medium wet tyre that is, you've got to give it time to warm up.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially on the right. I felt sorry for Zarco in the race. He rode so well in qualifying, went through Q1, qualified second, got a good start, and then was just a sitting duck. It was always going to be a risk. It was a bit of a... Oh, I thought someone had crashed then. It was a bit of a hero or zero. It was like, there was only two riders, I think, had gone for the medium wet tyre. And it just took 4 or 5 laps to really get up to temperature, and by then Zarco was 10 seconds behind.
Which, if the conditions are similar to this, if there is a bit of a sprinkle around, it means that where is Marc Marquez most vulnerable? In those early laps. And if there isn't the feeling straight away with that tyre, it does give encouragement to the rest of the field.
Yeah, it's his only weakness, but it is a slight weakness.
Fabio Quartararo was great yesterday, wasn't he? Held off Fabio Di Gianantonio for a podium, first podium of the year in the sprints for Quartararo. Yeah, it's podium in 2 years, actually.
And it all came from the start, didn't it? He got a good start. He qualified on the second row, just managed to hold on to 6th in qualifying. And what a difference that made. Because he got away, got dragged away, was able to circulate at those lap times. Whereas if it had ended up on the 3rd row of the grid, got an average start, all of a sudden you're in the danger zone of trying to battle all those V4s, and it would have been another probably a 10th place finish. So I was really pleased with Quartararo.
Johan Zarco right in the money straight away. He's only too familiar with these medium wet tyres now. Rode brilliantly in Q1 to go through, and then again in Q2 to stick it on the front row of the grid, and that's where we'll find him later on today in the MotoGP race. As I say, just 18 riders will be taking part. It's like going back to the pre-CRT, isn't it, when numbers were dwindling on the grid, but this is all injury and illness, actually.
I wonder when the last time there were so few starters. I mean, quite rare, isn't it? That
yeah, but there was a time, Michael will remember, it was around about the time when, yeah, around 2012, just before You know, we started getting the CRT around there where numbers were down to 16, 17 at some occasions.
I'm sure. I wonder what they look. There you go. There's one to throw out there for people. I wonder what's been the smallest starting grid over the years.
Well, I wonder, you remember that Mugello race there was? Was that 2004? There was a 6-lap race, the one that was restarted. I wonder if anyone's crashed out of that. You know,
there've been a few. I can't remember what the story was.
And it got restarted for 6 laps. That's the shortest ever Premier Class race, that one. Mugello. Shaky Byrne was in it as well. Troy Bellis, they were all up to the front, weren't they?
Yeah.
Front end.
I was in it, but I didn't play any part in it. I got a dislocated shoulder. I remember riding around Mugello.
That's just what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember that was one of those lovely...
Not a physical track.
Not even slightly.
And it wasn't the physical bike, was it?
No, it was
the original Desmond Medici.
Very easy to ride.
2003 bike you had in 2004.
What was nice is that I think they designed it for the runway, for like drag strip. it went well straight.
It was hot as well, wasn't it?
Oh, still got scars to prove how hot it was. That feels like a lifetime ago, I tell you.
These are horrible conditions this morning for those of you at home who are, looking and thinking. Lap times there, well, Mark Marquez done a 28.8, and that's with a drying track. I mean, there's risk involved in this. This is the thing. Trying to eliminate it as much as possible. There have been some tweaks, I'm sure, from him yesterday.
Yeah. He didn't look comfortable around the first sector. He actually said after the race, didn't he? He said that Bsky was much faster than him through sector 1, and you could actually see it. Do you know, it looked like the bike wasn't turning that good. Marks, even though it won. But like almost the setting at the front was it looked too stiff, I think. But still managed to make it happen.
Luca Marini up to 6th. Good comeback for him, I suppose, in a way, and easing in with a wet race yesterday for him. Says he's still not at 100%, which you can understand after his horrible injuries that he suffered while testing for Suzuka. He went through the crash on Thursday, explained to all the media about what he'd actually done and how the crash was. It just sounds horrible, doesn't it?
Yeah, did he have a big slide and end up like sort of picking the bike up, running off the track, and then it's one of those situations.
The wall came at him.
We've seen it over the years where you have a big slide and save it, and you think, oh, he's done well there. Then actually, no, you've not, because you're carrying a lot of speed. You're in the gravel, and there's not enough runoff.
See Senna Aegis yesterday in Moto2, for example.
Yeah,
brilliantly well.
Well, basically, it sounds like similar to what Senna Aegis did, where Senna Aegis was able to glance off the air fencing. It sounds like Luca Marini went into it.
Hit the foam barriers
straight on. Yeah, I've hit them foam barriers at Suzuka. Guess what?
It's like a mattress, isn't it?
It's. They might as well be concrete. That's what they feel like when you hit them at speed.
Absolutely. That was sarcasm, by the way, in my voice, as Pedro Acosta rounds the penultimate corner, the Saxon curve. Acosta yesterday a little bit disappointing after he ran back, still fought his way back to score a single point in 9th place. And up to 4th now. Here is Bez. How much do you reckon, the talk is now that Jorge Martin will be at Aprilia next year. How much does the upturn in fortunes for Bsky, do you think that's played in it?
I think it'll play a huge part, because as we know, when Martin got on the Aprilia, he's had nothing but bad luck. Every time he's got on the bike, he's crashed it. Also, that first quarter of the season, Marco Bsky was struggling. He was down as low as 12th in the championship, and it's on a factory Aprilia. And I think at that point, and I get it, Jorge Martin's had a clause in his contract, and he's like, I tell you what, if we can get off, if we don't have to continue next year, and there are other opportunities, why don't we explore them? Which obviously they did, and then it appears like there was an opportunity at Honda, multi-year deal, big money. I do get it, I get it. I know a lot of people don't. But then the turnaround happened, and we got to Silverstone, and Marco Bezzecchi won. And from that moment on, looks like they've found a really good direction with that.
Joan Zarco running off.
Is that turn? Oh, that's the penultimate corner.
Yeah.
Down into 12.
What I will say about Bezzecchi, let's not forget he came off a tough year, low in confidence, and joining a new factory. Nobody jumps on a bike pretty much and is quick, a new bike and is quick straight away. I'm thinking Marc Marquez jumping on the Ducati last year, on the year-old bike, yes, but it didn't come to him straight away, did it?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, you're right, it takes a bit of time. And what is difficult is when all your experience in MotoGP has been on a Ducati, which is the best bike on the grid, it's always going to be a shock to the system when you get on a different bike.
Well, with Luca Marini 6th and Joan Mir 7th, it's like a few changes overnight might have worked for Honda. Miguel Oliveira into 3rd, who is very much a wet weather specialist, and yesterday finished 11th, so it didn't quite work out like that in the race. So it's an opportunity for people to have had a look at how they're set up in these conditions. Don't forget that Oliveira's comeback happened at the French Grand Prix, and he was in the mix at the front there, so yeah. It's a little bit of data gathering, if nothing else, yesterday. Zarco okay after running wide, he's 2nd quickest after that warm-up session.
He'll be praying for rain. Like I say, he was just unlucky he chose the wrong tyre, that's all. Let's see what happened here. Oh, that's a little lock in there, just enough.
Did exactly the right thing.
Exactly. Plenty of runoff on that corner, thankfully.
And we can understand why he went for the medium tyre.
Absolutely. It used that in qualifying, it worked well for him. And even though it's a sprint race, it's still 15 laps round here, and with that long hanging left-hand corner. But it was hard to see from pit lane, but as soon as the bikes went out on the grid for the sighting lap, or certainly on the warm-up lap, you could see actually there's a lot of lying water. It was a gamble, like I said, it just didn't pay off.
How will that feel, the difference between the medium and soft rear tyre? How will that feel from on board?
Well, with
spin more, or
with the medium, if it's not up to temperature, the worst part is off throttle lack of grip. So as you tip into the corner, you close the throttle. When you've got a rear tyre that's not working, that's the compound's just a little bit too hard, it starts to come round on you, and you've no control over that. And you could see it, couldn't you, on those opening laps? He looked so slow, did Zarco.
Not the usual bounce from Marc Marquez from bike to bike. Marco Bezzecchi looked up for it.
Yeah, Bezzers, that was a really good one. Good practice, wasn't it?
Has won in mixed conditions here in the past, of course. Marc Marquez made an incredible switch.
Was it in 16?
Yeah, when was it that
he was lucky there, though. And what I'm going to say is, if you remember, in that race, he'd run off the track at
14?
Turn 8.
There was one in 16 in the wet.
Right.
The one that was wet to dry was 14, I think.
Right. Well, he'd run off the track, hadn't he, during the race, so he was well down, and that's why he actually risked it coming in early when there was a little bit of rain.
And he was on the slicks.
Or was he?
Drying
no, it was a drying track, so he switched to the slicks.
Slicks, yeah.
And raced around, what was it? 3-inch dry racing line on lap record pace. Yeah. There we go. What we're going to see here.
Caught the cops as Fabio Quartararo comes back into the bits. Not happy with something again, frustrated. Diego Gabellini is trying to keep a lid on it. He's that kind of character, is Fabio. He's very much heart and sleeve, lets his emotions show, but I think Diego's a great character out with it because he's just so straight
on the flames, doesn't he? He just he'll let him say
faced.
Yeah, let him say his bit and then go,
Okay.
So
what are we doing then?
yeah. So what? Literally. So was it better or not?
This man sounded down in the dumps last night. There were even comments from Claudio Domenicali saying, "Oh, something big is." Or he's saying that Pecco's comments are always about something big being wrong. He's tried a new frame here this weekend. He tried back last year in testing in Misano. He tried it in Sepang at the start of the year.
Yeah, I looked at his lap times in the sprint race this morning, just double checking. And if you think, during that sprint race, Marc Marquez was doing low 29s, high 28s. Pecco's fastest lap was a 30. I mean, he finished 20 seconds behind his teammate on the exact same bike. They've got all the data. And he said, Pecco's comments were, I have zero rear grip. I mean, how can that be? Really? It's and I think you feel like it's slowly changing in that factory Ducati, that they're getting to the point of, well,
it's not much more.
We're sort of running out of.
Well, they're changing a frame for him now as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's all to come later on, of course. In MotoGP, Marco Bezzecchi, will he be able to battle Marc Marquez? We'll find it all out later on. We've got our races coming up, though. In an hour's time, we'll go to Moto3. All the build-up coming next.